to travel to Greenville in order to attend Faye's funeral. I trust that you will understand that I made a sincere effort, but I simply cannot get away. As you know, I was Faye's attorney. As an attorney, words are the tools of my trade. Yet, I'm having considerable difficulty in finding the right words to express my deep sorrow in the passing of my dear client. Indeed, even the word client does not adequately describe the relationship I enjoyed with Faye. She was not merely a client, and I hope she viewed me as more than a lawyer. I represented Faye for 27 years. While that may sound like a long time, allow me to put that into some perspective. When I first started representing Faye, my youngest son was still in diapers. By the time the case was finally concluded, the same son had graduated from college and was attending law school. Putting it another way, when I first traveled to Memphis to meet with Faye, Ronald Reagan was the president. By the time the case ended, President Obama was in office. I have always prided myself in knowing that I gave all my clients the best legal representation that I can. But there has been no client over my 37-year career for whom I wanted more to succeed than I wanted for Faye. We met at a time when Faye had just suffered the loss of her precious baby boy, Marcus, at the hands of a Memphis police officer. I thought my job was to file a lawsuit for Faye and to recover some financial compensation for her loss. Little did I know at the time that I was embarking on the case of my career, and that my true mission was to provide her with a modicum of peace of mind. Please allow me to describe the most important thing I ever have done as a lawyer. When I first met Faye, less than 1 month had passed following the death of her son. It was bad enough that this totally innocent young man had been gunned down by a man who was sworn to protect the citizens of Memphis. But to make matters worse, Faye had witnessed her son's murder. Faye was obviously grieving very deeply for her boy, and the stress showed on her face. Still, she was young and attractive, and I could see that behind the grief was a woman who had lived life with her son filled with love, hope, and happiness. Over the years, as the city of Memphis destroyed our evidence, found ways to delay Faye's day in court, and did everything its attorneys could do to intimidate, demoralize, and exhaust Faye, I watched as the stress and grief exacted a more severe toll than the mere passing of time alone could ever inflict. The lines on her face deepened. Her skin tone turned gray. Her eyes lost their life. Still, her strength allowed her to preserve and remain dedicated to the goal of vindicating her son. It took 5 years before we had the first of several trials in this case. During the trial, I was able to cross-examine Marcus's killer to expose him for the despicable, lying child killer he really was. We proved Marcus was neither crazy nor a criminal and had nothing to cause the cop to shoot in self-defense as he claimed. The jury deliberated all night and returned its verdict in favor of Faye at around 5 on a Sunday morning. God is good.
Yes,
I'm editorial in that, all right? Now I'm back. And after finally leaving the courtroom, Faye and I got into my car just as the sun came up. For the first time since I had met her, I saw the color come back to her face. I saw life return to her eyes. She smiled, not at anything I had done or said, but simply because she seemed to find some measure of contentment with having held the cop and the city accountable. She seemed to finally relax. And it was then that I realized I had given back to her a reason to live beyond December 31st, 1987. I will never forget, ever forget that morning. And I know I will never, ever do anything more important for any of my clients. Little did I know that this was simply round one. The fight would continue for 22 more years. Faye never wavered. She never backed down. And on many occasions, I had to draw upon her strength, courage, and commitment, so as not to become discouraged by the way our opponent and the system repeatedly tried to cheat us. It was my honor and privilege to represent Faye, to fight for her, to express things for her, to vindicate her son for her, to pick her up when she was down, to give her hope while facing the deepest despair. But be assured, Faye was not just my client, she was my friend. And she was as big a part of my life as any person, not a member of my family, could ever possibly be. We never recovered all the money that the jury awarded her. And the amount we did recover certainly did not bring her boy back to her. But I believe that forcing the cop and the city to pay required them to account to her. And that was the real relief she sought. It may have helped her sleep a little bit easier at night, and at least I hope it did. And if I did, I accomplished my true mission for her. Very truly yours, Ernest Jarrett. So, that was Faye's journey. And I can't judge my sister about how I would have done that or what I would have done.